Good morning and welcome to Dr. Lamba Explains Sikhism. Today I'm going to talk about Bachittar Natak. Now Bachittar, some people call it Bachitra, which is a Hindi word, means amazing drama. But there's no drama in it. I call it a great spiritual, epic, autobiographical poem. It's a beautiful composition and it's a memoir of Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th Guru. It's a part of Dasam Granth. As a matter of fact, it's the third Bani in the Dasam Granth, which has almost huge significance of the six. Is, as a matter of fact, the second holy scripture. First, of course, is Guru Granth. The text of Bachittar Natak starts from page 94 and continues to page 175. The total pages of Dasam Granth are 236. The original text of Dasam Granth was 1428 pages and Guru Granth is 1430 pages. While Guru Granth is a composition of 9 gurus and scores of saints and Sufis and others, Dasam Granth is the creation of only one person. So almost comparable in size, it is unique property. And as said, this autobiography of Gobind Singh, narrated by himself, of course, covers first 32 years of his life, but that's not enough. It covers his whole genealogy starting from Lord Rama. Though the word Natak has been used in Punjabi, there's no drama, as I said. But Guru has outlined the circumstances and history of the time and the great courage and strength that was required to overcome the many hurdles that were there. There has been a lot of controversy about Dasam Granth and about Bachittar Natak. Most of the people, especially the fundamentalists, say that it's not a part of Sikh scriptures and it was a spurious thing. It was interpolated because Guru Gobind Singh would not write it. I don't agree with it. Because I am see from the text, from the formation, from the language used, that it must be a great well-versed poet, a great spiritual person, a brave person who could represent the cosmos. And most of the criticism emanates from the fact that those people who criticize it are allergic to the Hindu culture. And that Hindu culture forms the basis of Bachittar Natak. Now the composition starts with the praise to the God, Akal Purakh. Akal is never ending. Purakh, a person who spans all times. Then it gives the genealogy of two sects, the Vedis and Sodhis. Vedis were Guru Nanak's ancestors, Sodhis were ancestors of Gobind Singh. And the history starts, the family tree, to call it in modern nomenclature, with Lord Surya. So the son is the originator of these two families. And apart from that, the poem also describes the battles of Nadaon, Hussaini, and arrival of Prince Muzaffar in Punjab. And it continues right from Lord Surya to the year 1698. Now, before I go further, let me talk to you about what the poem is. The Dasam Granth, the which is comprised of various poetic creations of Gobind Singh, also contains, as I said, Bachittar Natak. It has 24 avatar, Upavatar. Obviously, it's a biographical narrative of the protagonist. But not only that, it includes the biographies of the great protagonists of the past. The literary piece entitled Bachittar Natak, a unique place. It features the incidents related to Gobind Singh's life over 32 years and references, as I said, to the earlier birth. The text is written in a language which is called Braj Bhasha, with some Aprahans influence. The story of Gobind Singh is told by the court poet Sanipat, who established Sri Guru Singh Sabha in 1711, 3 years after the death of Guru. Now, what is the outline of Bachittar Natak? As I said, it's a long form. First chapter is the praise of the Almighty, the God, the ultimate being. The second chapter starts with the genealogy, and the opening statement mentions Love and Kush, the two sons of Lord Rama. Now, the people who say that Rama, when Gurus talk of it, is not the Rama which Hindus talk of it, would have been put in their place and shown the fact that, okay, Rama may not be the same, but what about Love and Kush? Now, chapter 3 describes the descendants of Love and Kush and emergence of Bedi and Sodhi clans. And Sodhi clan, 8 out of 10 Sikh Gurus belong to this clan. One Guru, the first one, Guru Nanak, belongs to the Bedi clan. Chapter 4 is the recitation of the Vedas and offerings of the kingdom. It also talks of the interaction of the two clans. So there was no, since they were cousins, they were enemies, antagonistic, but then they were friends. So much so that the Sodhi clan gave a lot of respect to Bedi clan when Bedis were supposed to be the masters of Vedas. It's from word Vedas is Bedi. Then chapter 5 is the description of the spiritual rulers. The first 9 Sikh Gurus preceding Gobind Singh, they are described. Chapter 6 is the command of the Supreme Being to be born in this world, and it includes the meditation by Gobind Singh, who performed meditation of Hemkund for 300 years. Now, there are people who are going to say, well, how can one meditate for 300 years? This is a figment of imagination. They forget that the yogis in the past in India had the capacity to be in suspended animation. It was more like, to use a modern scientific jargon, a state of suspended being, cryogenics. So maybe Hemkund is a beautiful mountain below freezing temperature, so it was a natural cryogenics. And when you meditate, your breathing becomes slow. Anyway, the command of Supreme Lord was, when he was praying, meditating in the mountains, to go and take birth. And the chapter 7 starts with his birth in Patna. So up to chapter 6 is all preceding history. Chapter 7 starts with this word. As per the orders of the Almighty, he takes birth in Patna. And then he comes to Madhya Pradesh. Now, what is Madhya Pradesh? Madhya Pradesh is the Punjab region. So the language used is for a person who was well versed in the lore of the land, not only of Bihar, where Patliputra Patna was, but of Punjab. Then comes chapter 8, where Bhangani's battle, including his settlement at Anandpur, is described, and Anandpur became the center for spiritual and literary activities. Chapter 9 describes the Battle of Madang. Chapter 10 describes the expedition of Khanzada and the defeat of Khanzada's flight. Chapter 11 is a description of the battle at Hussaini, where his associates Kirpal, Himmat and Sangita died. Then comes chapter 12, where Jujhar Singh's son fights and dies. Chapter 13 is the arrival of Mughal prince Muazzam and his officers. And the chapter 14 is a supplication to the Lord, destroyer of all. Now scholars say that autobiography terminates here abruptly. They thought that Guru became engaged in other affairs. Let's not forget, no autobiography can be 100% complete. Autobiography is what you're writing about. A time comes when your life is either repeating itself and there's just a repetition and you don't want to put a repetition in. And naturally, it's a part of your life. Now comes what was the concept? The history and the family tree. So genealogy of Sikh Gurus is, as I said, from King Surya. First was Surya, the Lord's son. Then comes Raghu. He was born. Raghu's son was Aja. Aja's son was Dasrath. Dasrath had sons Rama, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughan. Rama had two sons, Love and Kush. And then, comes on, and this Love and Kush go on to form the clans. Sodhi Rai was son of Kala Rai. So then Sodhi was started, and Kalkat, the other son of Kush, set up the Vedic clan. The first Guru was Bedi. The last 7 Gurus were Sodhis. Now Sodhis are Suryavanshis in fact. Now it's often a claim by orthodox organizations that this genealogy makes Sikhs Hindus, and in actual Hindus born out of Sikhs as one clan. Let's not forget that the fact that Guru Nanak's son Sri Chand was an ascetic, and his father Kalu Mehta was an idol worship. So father and sons had different paths. Then neither Rama, nor Raghu, nor Surya called themselves Hindus in Hindu scriptures. They did not call because they were not Hindus at that time. Hinduism was an accepted form, so they did not have to give the name. Now, after the death of Ramchandra, his 2 sons became rulers. One married to a prince of Punjab, Love, and set up Lahore. Kusha set up the found city of Kasur. The beauty of the poem is beautiful to read when it talks of Madhya Pradesh, Madras Punjab, where he married a princess and the 2 cities were there. Both the cities surpass the beauty of Lanka and Amravati. Now when he talks of Lanka, when he talks of Amravati, Adak Purite, Dev Braje, Nilank Lank, Amravati Laje, that they were ashamed of the beauty of these cities. And for a long time they ruled over it. Now love-kush relationship, they were real brothers. And that continued in Bedis and Sodhi clans. So much so that the Bedis were worshipped. And then comes the sacrifice of Guru Tegh Bahadur. Har Gobind par lok sudhare, Hari Rai te jar baithare. That Guru Har Gobind died and Har Rai was seated in his place. Then Har Krishna came there, and when Har Krishna died, then Tilak Janju Rakha Prabh Ka Data. Now here it is. When the Sikhs say that they are not Hindus, Tegh Bahadur sacrifice for Tilak and Janju, the private, the sacred thread, and the vermilion mark. So that shows that the ancestry cannot be forgotten. Yes, you are, as I said last time, they are separate. It's a new religion, but it's born of that religion, and that does not mean that there is no linkage. Some people, now about the controversy, say that Guru Gobind Singh's writing is biased. And it was not. But they forget two things. A, Guru Har Gobind and Guru Tegh Bahadur and Guru Gobind Singh. These were the three gurus who combined prayer with fighting. Fighting was in fact a part of the extreme need when it was there, as in Zafarnama, which I discussed last time. It means that when all other efforts failed, you have to take up arms. First person, of course, to take up arms was Guru Har Gobind. Then it was Guru Tegh Bahadur who fought in Assam. And the third was, of course, Gobind Singh who fought. Now, there is another thing, 24 avatar, 24 avatars, which are described in Bachittar Natak. Back in those days, what happened? Brahmins were very, very narrow-minded, and they would not allow people of any other religion or any depressed class, Dalits, to read Vedas, other religious books. Now, Gobind Singh, most of the followers were from the lower classes. If you look at the first Panj Pyare, the five beloved ones with whom the Khalsa started, one was a carpenter, the other was a blacksmith, and so on. So they were all depressed. They were the strict sense of Brahminical area, they were not. So what Gobind Singh said, that these people should not be deprived of the heritage. So he wrote 24 avatar, in which he described the complete story of Vishnu, Mahesh, and Shiva. As a matter of fact, if you really want to know the Hindu culture, there are two verses. Go to Gobind Singh's writing and you will find it a living interpretation. Bachittar Natak is in fact an invocation to God, but it's much more than that. It describes the historical perspective, it describes the architectural aspect, it describes the cultural aspect, and of course history it is, right from the time of Surya. That's the beginning of the world. Of course, it's not a global history. It's a history of India and embryo, the embryonic India. And it's a cultural history, coupled with facts which we call mythology. But then what happens? In the process of time, all history comes mythology. You always pick and choose. You cannot have 100% description of any event even. So how can you have of the path-breaking events? So you always choose according to your need. And that's why when the people say history should be rewritten, they want it to be rewritten from their point of view, not necessarily that the history written earlier was wrong, but the history written earlier was from a different perspective. It's always pick and choose. So Gobind Singh picked and chose those things which were relevant to his time, to his mission, to his credo, and to establish the genealogy and the family tree from the beginning, and also to bridge a gap. The people were saying that Sikhism has a different being, and then there is no connection. Where Sikhs showed that there is a connectivity. Bedis and Sodhis, the two clans from which the Gurus came, were brotherly clans. There is a fraternal tie. What I discussed in the dynastic principle, it is on a larger scale. But the intervention by the Almighty, the meditation of Hemkund. Now Hemkund is one of the tapas. And it's a beautiful place if you have gone there. And the Guru, many people would not believe, as Mr. Singh Jaspal said, how many people will believe it? Yes, they will not. But then, do we believe in the matter of Thermopylae or the Saragari? Do we believe that these two younger sons permitted themselves to be buried alive and not succumb to either the threats or the grief? If that can happen, why not here? And as I said, the yogic principle of controlling your breath to prolong your life is quite possible. Then we talk of the eons and eras. So, and then one thing more, don't forget, this is the book where he says that though I have come in by the command of the Almighty to set things right, whosoever calls me God would be cast in hell. That shows his human approach. Bachittar Natak you can perceive from different aspects. You can look at it as an autobiographical poem. You can call it a family history. You can call it a cultural revelation of Hinduism. Or you can just marvel it as a celebration of the Almighty. They are all mingling together. They are tributaries. And what the outcome is, Bachittar Natak. The amazing drama. The drama of cosmology, of history, starting from the creation to the end. That is till the 1728. But one thing stands out. That's the veracity. That is the flow of language, the meters, and the sheer poetic form that makes this book. As a matter of fact, Bachittar Natak has been much underrated. It needs to be translated practically all the languages to give a panoramic view of Indian civilization, Indian culture, Indian thought, culminating in the concept that ultimately God is one and He pervades everything, and the dark forces would always be defeated, and the Vedas are the repository of knowledge and capability. If you look at the drama, the poem, or the epic as a piece of history, it's great. It's a great reference book worth every single syllable. Thank you.